All right, so we're diving into a dream trip to New York City. 2025 stuff.
Ooh, New York.
We've got this travel tips article, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it is jam-packed with juicy info. We're going to pull out the good stuff, the really good stuff, to help you plan, like, the ultimate trip.
You know what really stood out to me?
Yeah?
How important timing is. Like, it really emphasizes that.
Okay.
When you visit New York City, it's not just about what you do,
Yeah.
It's about when you do it, too.
So it's more than just dodging those peak season crowds. Like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, think about those shoulder seasons. They call them shoulder seasons.
Okay.
Spring and fall.
Right.
You get the best of both worlds. It's like pleasant weather,
Yeah.
Not too hot, not too cold,
Right.
fewer crowds. Ideal for exploring, you can do the outdoor stuff in the museums. It's a sweet spot.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing the appeal of these shoulder seasons, but I'm a sucker for those, like, Christmas lights,
Yeah.
December. Maybe a little snow wouldn't hurt, right?
Well, you can't beat December in New York if you're looking for that winter wonderland vibe.
Oh, yeah.
But it comes at a price. Peak season, so, you're paying more. There are more people.
Yeah.
But for the budget travelers out there, January and February,
Oh, okay.
way less crowded, cheaper, and you might even find some, really good deals.
Okay. All right. Good point.
Okay.
Now, how about getting around? This is the part that always stresses me out a little. The subway.
Okay.
All the lines and stations and then trying to figure out how to pay. And, like, yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming.
This article's got you covered. It breaks down the subway and bus system,
Yeah.
Even a first-timer, anybody can understand this.
Okay.
First things first, MetroCard. Or look into OMNY.
What's OMNY?
It's that contactless payment thing, so you just tap your phone or your card.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy enough. But then I still have to deal with those, like, crazy subway maps.
Not really. Download a subway map app.
Oh.
Like City Mapper, that one's great. You get the real-time updates. It'll help you plan your trip. And it's got offline maps.
Offline maps. Now you're talking. That's smart.
Yeah, so you're not fumbling around if you lose connection or something.
Okay. Awesome. Any other subway survival tips?
Avoid rush hour, unless, you want to be squished up against people. Aim for those off-peak travel times. And speaking of getting around, you have to check out the Staten Island Ferry.
Wait, the Staten Island Ferry, isn't that like a total tourist trap?
No, not at all. It's free. It's a great way to get around.
Yeah.
And it gives you those amazing views. You can't beat that view of the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
Manhattan skyline. It's basically a free sightseeing cruise.
Okay. I'm sold on the ferry now.
Yeah.
But I'm also the type of traveler that really loves to just explore on foot, Is that a good way to experience New York, do you think?
One of the best ways. That's how you soak up the energy of the city, and that's how you discover those hidden gems. And plus, you walk off all the delicious New York treats you'll be eating.
All right. I like the way you think. But we both agree. Driving in New York, no. Hard pass.
Forget it. Unless
Yeah.
you really want to experience New York traffic firsthand. Stick to the pros.
Yeah.
Those yellow cabs, right?
Oh, yeah. Sold on walking. Maybe a taxi or two. But let's be real. I want to go beyond those typical tourist spots. What does the article say about exploring the other boroughs?
Okay. Things are getting interesting now. The article loves Brooklyn, raves about it. Just imagine you're strolling through Brooklyn Bridge Park, right?
Yeah.
That iconic skyline is your backdrop. Explore the shops, the little eateries, the DUMBO, it stands for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass.
DUMBO, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the bridge itself, huh?
Nope. And for those art lovers out there, Williamsburg.
Oh, yeah?
It's like eclectic art haven, really unique dining experiences there.
Okay, Brooklyn's calling my name. What about the other boroughs? What's the scoop on the Bronx and Queens?
The Bronx Zoo, you got to see that if you love animals. Yankee Stadium for baseball fans. And for the history buffs. Edgar Allan Poe's cottage is in the Bronx.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then Queens.
Yeah.
Get ready for a culinary adventure because this is like the melting pot of global cuisine. Diverse food markets, authentic international eats, you can't beat it.
All right, so a trip to Queens is like a trip around the world. I'm in.
And we can't forget Staten Island. Perfect escape from the city,
Oh, yeah.
You got the Staten Island Greenbelt, a little taste in nature, plus you can hop on that ferry again.
Yeah, that ferry's awesome.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can experience the real New York beyond the touristy stuff. And maybe find some peace and quiet. Sign me up. But let's be practical for a second. Can you really experience New York City without going totally broke.
Absolutely. The article's packed with money-saving tips.
Yeah.
Look into those city passes.
Right.
Like the New York Pass, the City Pass. They give you access to a bunch of attractions, but it's a discounted price, like a bundled deal.
Okay, that makes sense. Any other budget-friendly tips that jump out at you?
Okay, here's the best part. Some of the most iconic New York experiences.
Right.
Free.
What, really?
Absolutely free. You can easily spend a day in Central Park, walk the High Line, stroll across the Brooklyn Bridge,
Oh, yeah.
take that Staten Island Ferry ride we talked about,
The ferry, yeah.
all without spending a single dime.
Free and iconic. That's my kind of sightseeing.
And don't forget about museum free days. A lot of museums, like MoMA, they offer free admission or pay what you wish on certain days. You can actually plan your whole itinerary around those free days.
Oh, that's smart. A free museum day sounds amazing. But let's be real. No trip to New York is complete without the legendary food. What about those budget-friendly eats? What do I have to try?
Oh, New York City really shines here. First up, that classic dollar slice of pizza. Rite of passage, you have to do it.
I was going to say, if I don't get at least one New York slice, did I even go to New York?
Exactly. And then for a taste of like global flavors, explore the food markets.
Okay.
Smorgasburg, Chelsea Market. They offer diverse, really affordable bites. I'm talking tacos, dumplings, gourmet grilled cheese, anything.
Okay, my mouth is watering. I'm sensing a theme here. You're telling me I can experience the best of New York City, like, without breaking the bank. You're like a miracle worker.
Not quite a miracle worker, just good at spotting good travel tips.
All right, okay. So we've covered timing, getting around, venturing beyond Manhattan, sticking to a budget. What about some, like, practical prep tips to make sure this trip goes smoothly?
Okay, well, the article really stresses comfortable shoes.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be walking a lot, trust me.
I learned that the hard way my first time in New York.
Yeah.
I, like, really underestimated those distances. My feet were killing me.
Yeah, it happens. The article also says dress in layers because you never know what the weather's going to do. One minute it's sunny, the next it's raining, then it's snowing. Who knows?
Sounds like packing for New York is an art form in itself.
It is. It is.
Anything else I should be thinking about?
A lightweight backpack.
Oh, yeah.
That's a must. Something secure, for carrying your essentials, especially in those crowded places.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about staying connected? I don't want to get lost in that concrete jungle without Google Maps,
Exactly. Get an eSIM or a travel data plan. Stay connected, stay safe. Always be aware of your surroundings, especially when it's crowded.
Yeah.
And keep your valuables, close.
Safety first. Any other words of wisdom? Help me avoid any, like, travel mishaps.
Be really careful when you're booking places to stay.
Okay.
This article warns against those illegal Airbnb rentals.
Oh.
You could end up with a last-minute cancellation, and then what do you do?
Right. I didn't even think about that. What's the best way to avoid that, then?
Stick to the licensed listings.
Yeah.
Hotels, hostels, it might cost a bit more, but at least you have peace of mind. And remember, the outer boroughs are usually more affordable.
Oh,
And you can still get into Manhattan easily with the subway.
So I can have that authentic New York experience without breaking the bank and without worrying about my accommodation falling through.
Exactly. Little planning. These insider tips, you're good to go.
This is already so helpful. I'm feeling a lot more confident about my trip.
That's great. We've covered so much ground, but there's still so much more to talk about.
I know. I can't wait.
We've got the best time to visit.
Yeah.
How to navigate the city like a pro, right?
Right.
Exploring all 5 boroughs, staying on budget, and even some practical prep tips.
It's amazing.
And we've only just scratched the surface of what makes New York City so captivating.
But before we dive into the cultural scene and the history and the food and all those amazing neighborhoods, we're going to take a quick pause. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into your 2025 New York City adventure. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We're just talking about some practical tips to help you navigate, and afford your New York City trip. But now we're diving into what makes this city really special.
Ooh,
It's incredible cultural scene,
Still love it.
ready to explore the world of art, music, history, all the things New York is famous for.
Oh, absolutely. This is the part I get most excited about. There's just, there's something electric about being surrounded by so much creativity and history.
Right.
What does our article highlight? Like, what are the must-sees for a culture vulture like me?
Well, you can't go to New York without seeing a Broadway show.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a classic, quintessential New York experience. Even if you're not a huge theater person, the energy of the theater district is something else.
I can only imagine. Like, the bright lights and the buzz, the crowds.
It's another world.
Yeah.
And remember those TKTS booths we mentioned?
Yeah.
Great way to get some discounted tickets, for same-day shows.
Okay, mental note. Check out the TKTS booths. Now, speaking of culture, I'm a huge museum nerd,
Oh, okay.
and I've heard New York is a museum lover's paradise. Is that true?
Absolutely true. The article talks about MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art,
Oh, yeah.
with that iconic collection, modern and contemporary art. But honestly, you could spend weeks exploring all the museums and you still wouldn't see everything.
I know, right? It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
But seriously, how do you even choose from so many amazing museums? Any hidden gems you would recommend?
Well, it depends what you're interested in, right?
That's true. Right.
If you like history, you can't miss the Tenement Museum.
Right.
It's on the Lower East Side. It tells the stories of those immigrant families who lived in those little tiny apartments over a century ago. It's really moving, powerful.
Wow. Yeah. I love experiencing history in a more personal way.
Right.
So I'm into that.
And if you're an art lover, the Frick Collection.
Okay.
Stunning mansion, Fifth Avenue. Filled with old master paintings, decorative arts. It's like stepping back in time.
Oh, wow. Okay, the Frick Collection is officially on my list. What about music? I'm really curious about the live music scene in New York City in 2025. What can I expect?
New York's a melting pot of musical genres. You'll find everything. Jazz, hip-hop, classical.
Yeah.
The article mentioned the Blue Note. It's like a legendary jazz club.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
You might see a Grammy winner there.
Wow.
But there are also a ton of those smaller, more intimate places. That's where you discover the up-and-coming artists, and experience the city's, underground scene.
I love that. Stumbling upon a hidden gem of a music venue, hearing a band I've never even heard of.
It's the beauty of it, yeah. Always something new.
Okay, love it. Speaking discovery, let's talk history.
Okay.
New York City is, steeped in history. What are some of the key landmarks that the article talks about?
Well, you can't go to New York and not see the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island.
Right. That's number one.
Yeah. They really represent the city's immigrant history. It's like the promise of the American dream,
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Mm-hmm.
to be there in person and think about all the people who came through Ellis Island looking for a better life.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're interested in architecture, the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, those are iconic.
Of course.
They define that skyline. The views from the top are amazing.
I know, they're definitely on my list. But what about some, lesser-known historical spots? Those hidden pockets of history that maybe you don't find in, a typical guidebook.
One of my favorites is the Merchant's House Museum.
Okay.
It's like this perfectly preserved house from the 1800s. It gives you this peek into the lives of this wealthy New York family. You can even do a candlelit tour at night.
Ooh, a candlelit tour. I'm there.
Yeah.
I love anything that adds a little drama to history.
Yeah.
Speaking of dramatic, we have to mention the 9/11 Memorial and Museum.
Right, of course.
A powerful tribute to the victims and a reminder of the city's resilience.
It is a place for reflection. Testament to the strength of New Yorkers,
Absolutely.
Oh.
So we've covered art, music, history.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to something equally important.
Okay.
Food.
Yes.
We touched on some budget-friendly options earlier, but now I want to hear about all those culinary delights New York City is famous for.
Oh, get ready for a culinary adventure. New York City, it's a global melting pot, right? And the food scene totally reflects that. You can find everything from street food to Michelin star restaurants. The article mentions a few must-tries, but honestly, the possibilities are endless.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some dishes I absolutely cannot miss? Give me the highlights.
Well, you got to try a New York slice, that thin crust, cheesy goodness, rite of passage.
Of course.
And don't be afraid to, venture beyond the classic plain slice. New York pizza comes in all different varieties. Gourmet toppings, deep dish.
Oh, okay, so it's not just about the classic dollar slice. I'm intrigued.
No.
What kind of crazy toppings are we talking
Well,
about?
you'll find everything. Artisanal cheeses, roasted veggies, exotic meats. Some places even do dessert pizzas, Nutella, and fruit. It's pizza heaven.
Okay, you've officially convinced me to go on a pizza tour of New York City.
All right.
What else is on the menu?
Okay, another New York staple, the bagel. Those chewy, crusty rings of dough. Breakfast classic. You can find them everywhere. Corner delis, fancy bagel shops.
I've heard so much about New York bagels. What makes them so special?
It's all about the water.
Yeah.
New York City water, they say it's got this unique mineral content that gives those bagels their texture. And of course, you can't forget about the schmear.
Yeah, the spear, of course.
Classic cream cheese, flavored spreads, whatever you want.
All right, bagels are officially on the list. Now, I'm a big fan of trying different cuisines. What about international food? Any neighborhoods or restaurants I should check out?
Well, like we said before, Queens is a foodie paradise.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's got a huge variety of like international cuisines, Indian, Thai, Colombian, Ethiopian. You can literally eat your way around the world.
That sounds amazing. I love that, exploring different cultures through food. Any specific recommendations for places to eat in Queens?
There are so many, but Jackson Heights is one that really stands out.
Okay.
It's known for its incredible Indian food, especially the street vendors. Samosas, curries, dosas, chat, you name it. It's a sensory overload in the best possible way.
Okay. Jackson Heights is at the top of my list for Queens. Now, we can't talk about food without talking about dessert.
My favorite part.
Yes. What are some must-try sweet treats in New York City?
First up, New York cheesecake.
Oh, yeah.
Rich, creamy, decadent, so many variations. Classic New York style, chocolate swirl, fruit topped.
I have a weakness for cheesecake. Any recommendations for the best cheesecake in the city?
One place that's always at the top of the list is Junior's.
Okay.
They've been around since the 50s. Iconic cheesecake, a true New York institution.
Junior's, got it.
Yeah.
What else should I add to my dessert bucket list?
Well, you can't go wrong with black and white cookie.
Oh, yeah, those look so good.
Those simple cookies, vanilla and chocolate frosting, New York classic. And if you want something a little more adventurous, try a cronut.
A cronut.
That croissant donut hybrid took the city by storm a few years back.
Okay, I'm officially drooling. This culinary adventure is going to be epic.
Uh-huh.
But let's move on from food for a second. We've covered culture, history, food. What else makes New York City such a captivating destination?
It's the energy. The city that never sleeps, right? It's got a pulse like nowhere else. It's a place where dreams are made, diversity thrives, and you can just be yourself. The article talks about that a lot,
Yeah.
Highlights all those vibrant neighborhoods.
Yes. Let's talk about those neighborhoods. That's what really gives a city its personality, Where should we venture?
Well, we already mentioned some must-sees in Brooklyn, but there's so much more. DUMBO with its trendy shops and eateries, those views of the Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg, that hipster vibe, eclectic art scene, Great place to find those emerging artists and musicians. And Park Slope, those brownstones, family-friendly atmosphere. It's perfect for a nice, leisurely stroll.
So Brooklyn really does have something for everyone.
It does. And then Manhattan, of course. Bustling streets of Times Square, chic boutiques of Soho, bohemian energy of Greenwich Village.
It's like each neighborhood is its own little universe. I can already imagine myself getting lost in those streets and just soaking it all up.
Yeah, that's the beauty of New York City. Always something new to discover. And don't forget about the outer boroughs.
Right, yeah.
Bronx, Queens, Staten Island. They offer a different perspective, a little more laid back, but they have their own unique charm, hidden gems waiting to be discovered.
It's like you're getting multiple trips in one.
Yeah.
You have that iconic Manhattan experience and then those off-the-beaten-path adventures.
Exactly. Now, something that often gets overlooked, green spaces. You wouldn't necessarily think of New York City as a nature destination, but this article talks about some amazing parks and gardens that, offer a break from that concrete jungle.
Wait, parks in the concrete jungle? I'm intrigued.
We mentioned Central Park, which is like an oasis.
Oh, yeah, Central Park.
But did you know it's over 800 acres? Lawns, woodlands, a reservoir, a zoo, even a castle.
Shut up.
You could spend a whole day there and not see everything.
I know, it's huge. I can already picture myself having a picnic in Central Park, surrounded by all that greenery, with the city skyline in the distance.
It's magical. And if you want something a little more modern, the High Line. It's an elevated park built on a former freight rail line. Stunning views of the city, the Hudson River.
An elevated park. That's so cool. I love how New York City takes something industrial and turns it into a beautiful public space.
Yeah, it really is. It's a testament to the city's creativity. And speaking of green spaces, don't miss Brooklyn Bridge Park. It's right on the waterfront. Those views of the bridge and the Manhattan skyline are breathtaking.
Okay, these parks are definitely going on my list. It's good to know you can get your dose of nature even in a city like New York.
Exactly. And remember, those are just a few. New York City has a lot of green spaces, community gardens, botanical gardens, waterfront promenades.
I'm getting even more excited to explore now. We've covered so much, timing our trip, figuring out transportation, exploring all 5 boroughs, sticking to a budget, prepping for a smooth experience. And now we've even touched on the culture, the history, the food, the neighborhoods, and the green spaces.
We've painted a pretty comprehensive picture.
But most importantly, we've given you, the listener, the knowledge and inspiration to plan your own unique adventure.
Exactly. Now it's your turn. Take these tips and make them your own.
So what unique experience will you seek out in the city that never sleeps?
That's the question we leave you with. And remember, the best travel stories are the ones you create.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into New York City in 2025. We hope you're feeling inspired and excited to plan your trip. Until next time, safe travels. All right, so we've covered a ton when it comes to planning this New York City trip. We talked about everything. Best time to visit, how to get around, exploring all 5 boroughs, and of course we couldn't forget the food. But I'm kind of curious about something you mentioned earlier, the importance of embracing the unexpected.
Oh, right.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, New York City, it's constantly changing. It's full of surprises. Sometimes the best things that happen are the things you don't plan. So I think you got to be open to new experiences, venture off the beaten path, say yes to, unexpected things.
I love that, letting the city lead the way,
Yeah.
not being afraid to, ditch the itinerary and just see where you end up.
Exactly. Don't be scared to talk to someone local,
Yeah.
Wander down a cool side street, try a dish you've never even heard of. Those are the moments, right?
Yeah.
The ones that make the best stories.
Absolutely. It's those serendipitous things, You can't plan for those, and those are the things that make a trip special. But what if things go wrong?
Okay.
What if I get lost?
Mm-hmm.
Or I miss a reservation, or, it starts pouring rain?
It's all part of the journey, right?
Yeah.
Even the pros, even seasoned travelers, things happen.
Yeah, that's true.
The key is to just roll with it. Sense of humor, adaptability. Sometimes those little detours lead to, the best stuff.
So it's about going with the flow.
Yeah.
Making the most of whatever happens.
Exactly. And who knows? You might discover, your no-favorite spot, some
Yeah.
hidden gem you never would have found otherwise.
Okay, I love that. Turning those travel mishaps into discoveries.
Mhm.
How do you cultivate that openness to the unexpected, especially in a big city like New York?
Build in some free time to your schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Don't, overplan.
Right.
Leave some space for spontaneity. Wander around. Follow your curiosity.
Yeah, that's such a good tip. It's so easy to get excited, plan every minute,
Yeah.
and forget to leave room for, just the unplanned stuff.
Right. And don't be afraid to, connect with people.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to the locals. Ask for advice. Chat with other travelers. You'd be surprised what you can learn.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best travel tips come from, the people who actually live in the city or who have been there before. They have a perspective you won't find in any guidebook.
For sure. And embracing the unexpected. It's not just about being open to new stuff.
Yeah.
It's also about being present.
Okay.
Right here,
Hey.
right now. Savor those sights, the sounds, those smells of the city. Don't get so caught up in taking the perfect photo or checking things off your list.
Yeah.
You might miss the real beauty of it all.
That is such a good reminder. It's
Uh-huh.
easy to get caught up in documenting everything and forget to actually experience it.
Exactly. So put the phone down, take a deep breath, and just soak it all in. New York is amazing. All those senses, just be present.
I love that.
Yeah.
This has been such a great conversation. We've covered so much in our deep dive into New York City 2025.
Yeah.
From practical tips to bigger picture stuff. We've really explored what it takes to plan an unforgettable trip.
I think so.
And we really hope this has inspired you to create your own New York City adventure.
I hope so.
So remember, that city that never sleeps, it's waiting. Go out there, embrace the unexpected, and make some amazing memories. Thanks for listening.